Welcome to our intermediate class today. So we are focused on the theme today of the moon. And I have been kind of watching the moon grow over the last several days. And I don't know for sure, but I think it's going to be full around the weekend. And of course, that's also Halloween, perfect time for a full moon. But aside from all of that, the moon is a wonderful symbol um, in life, but a lot in ancient India, the moon was used as a symbol for change, for transformation. And I know it's kind of a dark time in our, it's sort of in the grand scheme of things right now as we move into fall. There's less light, there's less physical light. We're faced with a bunch of worldwide challenges that we're dealing with and all of that. So the moon symbolizes our ability to transform, our ability to kind of go through changes and transform as a result. So the moon is always changing from day to day. It's never the same. And even if it looks the same 1 month to the next, it's in a slightly different position in the sky. So we have this ability to go inward, to like the new moon, to go into ourselves and to come forth with more light as a result. And we're always going through these transitions and times. Like there was a point in my life where I thought, oh, I'll just get to a point one time when I've done all this, personal development work, and I'll never have those dark times again. But it's just not the case, right? We just learn to weather them more easily over time. But this is life. We're going to go through those dark times, through the light times, and it's a cycle, just like the moon cycle. So if we focus on the moon as that kind of element of change and transformation, it can help us maybe to feel a little more at ease with our own changes and transformations as they happen in our lives. So we're going to start seated. So a chair or the ground is great. And I'll see you on the mat. Nice and cozy here in front of the fire. I hope you've got a cozy place where you are. So come to sit however you're comfortable. It could be cross-legged as I am. It could be sitting in a chair. It could be with your legs stretched out in front of you, whatever feels comfortable to you. And we'll sit for a few minutes, doing a little bit of breath work, a little bit of noticing, and a bit of movement as well. You can start with your eyes closed if you like. As always, if you want to keep them open, that's totally fine. You might just soften your gaze and look down toward the ground in front of you somewhere. So if we take the breath as corresponding to the moon, we can imagine as we breathe in the fullness of that silver light of the moon. And as we exhale, it's like we're going through the phases. The moon shrinks back to the new moon or darkness. So inhaling the fullness of that full moon. Exhaling, softening into that darkness, into the internal space where we go inwards. And then inhaling as we expand our light. Our breath reminds us that we can't be full all the time. We can't be expansive all the time. We have to exhale. And when we get to the end of the exhale, we're reminded that we can't be empty. We don't stay dark and empty and in that space of contemplation forever. We have to inhale and expand back into the world. So a few more breaths like that. And let's bring a little spinal flexion and extension into our breath. So as you inhale, naturally the spine extends or arches, and you can exaggerate that by drawing the chest a little forward, tilting the pelvis, tailbone up behind you, and then tucking the tailbone under, rounding your back, and bringing your head down as you exhale. So inhale, A little extension or arch in the back. Exhale, flexing or rounding the back. You might notice that the shape of your body, if you were looking at it from the side, becomes kind of like the shape of the moon. One way and then the other way. And let's come back to the center now. And we'll take one arm and reach it straight up. Turn your palm to face the direction that the other hand would be if it were also up. The other hand can come to the floor or the chair, or just rest on your leg for now. And you're going to press down into the sit bone on the side of the raised arm. And raise the arm, reach. And feel that anchor right down into the earth through that sit bone and reaching up towards the heavens with your hand. Your body like the conduit between energy of the earth, energy of the heavens coming together as you breathe. Okay, let's release that arm. Pause for a moment and notice. Can you feel a little difference in energy from one side to the other? And then we'll try the other side. So you're just reaching the arm up, settling down into the sit bone on that side, breathing into the space, side of the torso, the armpit, the rib cage, the waist, the hip. Reaching down into the earth, up toward the heavens. And feeling that dual nature. We are of the earth, we are literally made of the earth, but we are also more than just our physical bodies. We're spirit, soul, imagination, thoughts, all of that. As you're ready, let the arm come down. And we'll take both arms now, reaching up with a breath in. And then coming forward, you can either bring your hands to your thighs, come to a forward bend, or hands to the ground if you're on the ground. Inhale to lift. So we'll do this a few times. Move at your own pace, in your own breath rhythm. Each inhale, inviting in the fullness of the moon, the clarity, clear seeing when the moon is bright, its luminous silvery light. And as you exhale, we're going inward into that dark place of contemplation, corresponding to the new moon. And last time. And this time bringing the hands back onto the thighs and the knees. Do a few circles with your torso. You're circling one way and then the other. Okay, and then coming back to the center. You can take one hand to the ground now, or if you're sitting on a chair, onto the seat of the chair, reaching the other arm up. And same thing here, anchoring down into the sit bone on the same side, but this time we're going to add some movement. So breathing in to lift and reach. Exhale, walk the hand away or bend the elbows so you're not jamming up the other shoulder. Inhale, back to center. So exhale, reaching to the side without losing contact of that sit bone that's on the ground. Inhale, come up. We're not trying to go as far as we can. Just finding a little more space and ease into the side of the body. If you like, you can stay for a few breaths. As you're staying, reach up through the arm, breathe into the armpit, the side of the ribs, the waist, the hip. And if you feel like you're twisting forward, think about taking that upper shoulder back a little. A couple more breaths here. And then we'll return to center. And bring the other hand to the ground, reaching up with the opposite arm. Again, anchor down into that sit bone, so we never want to lose contact with that sit bone to the earth. And with an exhale, reaching to the side, inhale to lift. We'll do this a few times on this side as well. Go at your own breathing pace. So my pace may be slower or faster than your breath. And there's no need, in fact, it's counterproductive to manipulate your breath in a way that's not natural. But it feels like a strain, at least. We're all often manipulating the breath in a way that's not natural in yoga, but the main thing is we're not straining. Okay. And then stay and reach. Again, you want to make sure you're not locking the arm that's supporting you, that there's space between your shoulder and ear. Breathing into that long side and maybe taking that shoulder back a little if you feel like you're collapsing forward. So you're getting a really nice stretch through the side of the body. And then come back to center, hands to the knees or thighs, and we'll arch or extend with an inhale and round with an exhale. A couple more breaths here. Let's bring the hands together at the heart. We'll inhale and lift the arms. And then as if we're creating that silvery light of the moon as a kind of aura around us, exhaling, hands back together, inhaling to lift. Exhale, creating that silvery light space around you. Feeling the fullness of the breath like the fullness of the moon, releasing the breath into that empty space or quiet, dark place of the new moon. And next time your hands come together in front of your chest, stay there. Lift the heart. Take a big breath and then exhale to release. We'll come around onto all fours now. You can work with your breath again here, inhaling to arch just as we did seated, exhaling to round, or you could add child's pose if you like. You can follow your own pace. Whatever feels natural, comfortable to you. If you want to move at a different pace than your breath, just breathe and move at a comfortable pace. And then let's add lifting one leg. Exhale, bring it in. Other side. Great, and then this time come back to center. Back to all fours. I'm going to take one leg back, toes to the ground. And we're going to, assuming you've got enough space where you are, drag the toes out to the side and drag back. Lift, breathe in. Exhale, toes down, drag to the side. Inhale, come back. Then exhale, bring your knee towards your nose. Stretch back, toes down. Big breath in. Exhale to the side. Inhale, reach back and lift. Exhale, knee in. We'll do that one more time. Inhale back, toes down. Exhale to the side. Inhale, go back and lift. And then exhale in. Bring that knee down. We'll do a few circles with the hips. Okay. And if you need a little bit of a break, because we've been on the wrists a bit of time here, you can come onto your heels or sit however you're comfortable and do a few circles with your wrists before we go ahead and work with the other side, that sweeping side movement. So when you're ready, if you've got space, you don't need to turn around, but if you need more space, you can turn around or alter your position a little bit. So we'll take the toes back. Breathe in here. Exhale, slide to the side. Inhale, come back and lift. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, toes back and down. Exhale to the side. Inhale, reach back and up. Exhale, draw in. Inhale back. Exhale to the side. Inhale, lift back. Exhale, knee in. And once more. Goes down. Exhale to the side. Inhale back and up. Exhale, draw in. And release that knee to the ground. So again, a few circles with the hips. Going one way, going the other way. And then again, you can come to sit back on your heels, give your wrists a little bit of a break. Okay, give them a shake. And then let's come to the center, coming up onto the knees. And we'll take one leg out to the side, toes point forward. Your hips will be a little bit off kilter, but see if you can bring them back more or less to level. Place the hand on the thigh that corresponds to the leg. You don't want to push down on the leg, just let it rest there. We'll reach up and exhale to reach over. So find a place that feels like a good stretch. Pause there for a few breaths. Dig down to that knee into the ground. Reach up with that arm. And then release. Bring the knee in. We'll take a breath in and reach both arms up. As you exhale, come to child's pose. Inhale, come to all fours. Exhale, back to child's pose. Inhale, lift up into high kneeling. And exhale, arms down. And we'll take the other knee out to the side. Toes can point forward. Again, the hand rests on the leg, but you're not pushing down on the leg ever. Okay, the other arm reaches up. You're breathing in. And then exhale, slide the hand down towards the shin. Reach up. And breathe. Good. And then coming back to the center, and slide that knee back in. And we'll go through that little sequence as well again. So inhale, lifting. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, all fours. with a helper. Good, exhale back to child's pose, and let's rest here for a few breaths. So you can be in whatever version of child's pose is good for you. And breathe here. Breathing into the fullness in the back of your body, like the fullness of the full moon. As you exhale, softening into that darkness, into that contemplative inner space symbolized by the new moon. Take a few more breaths in child's pose. Okay. And then you can slowly roll up to the kneeling. Okay. And we'll move through a kneeling sun salutation sequence. So from either low kneeling or high kneeling, so you're either sitting on your heels or you're sitting up off your heels, and that will be your starting position. Now, go on. Go to your bed. Go on. Oh, it's a zoo. It's a zoo. So from your low kneeling or high kneeling, you're going to inhale, lift up, and bring your arms up overhead. And then you'll exhale to come into child's pose. You'll inhale, come to all fours. And then exhale, come into downward dog. So from your downward dog, you can spend some time walking the heels in place. There you go. Just stay there. If you're still in downward dog, come back down to all fours. Find your cat pose, inhaling and lifting, cow pose, lifting the heart, and then cat pose, rounding the back. You can do that cheeky. And then back to child's pose. Take a few breaths in child's pose. Okay, and then we'll come all the way up, high kneeling. Big breath in, exhale to come back to where we started. So this time we'll switch it up a little bit. So you'll inhale, again lift up, high kneeling. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, downward dog. Again, you can spend a few breaths here, walking in place if that feels good to you. And then you can step forward with the left foot. And we'll turn the right foot out to the side. So your toes point toward the right. So inhale, lift up in warrior one. Breathing in as you lift. Anchor down into both feet. Your front knee is bent over your ankle, back, legs strong. You're digging that heel deeply into the earth. And then feeling that lift and little extension in the spine. From here, bringing your arms behind your back. Coming forward with a long spine. You can move your front leg a little straighter if you like. And we'll go between those two positions. Inhale, lifting, bending the front knee. Exhale, keeping the spine long. Looking down towards your front foot, maybe straightening the leg a little as you come forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale. Coming forward. Okay, this time when you come forward, you can stay for a few breaths. Think about drawing your elbows up, shoulders back, crown of the head forward. The front leg can be bent or straight, it doesn't matter. You want to avoid rounding your back here. So you're really thinking about lifting the chest, digging into that back heel, growing long. And inhale, lift all the way back up into warrior one. And then exhale, bring your hands down. We'll step back to downward dog. You can walk on the spot here for a few breaths. And then lower your knees, come down to all fours, take a breath in, and then exhale to child's pose. Inhale, high kneeling. And we'll go through that sequence again to work with warrior on the other side. Exhale, forward. Inhale, all fours. Exhale and move into your downward dog. Pause there for a breath or two. The easiest time to step forward is after an exhale. So when you're empty of breath, so you'll breathe in. Some people like to take the leg up and swing it through. That might work for you, or blocks under your hands. Turning the back foot so that the whole foot is on the ground, and really particularly tuning into the outer edge of your foot and your heel. And digging in as you lift up, breathing in. And then again, find that warrior pose. Your knee is over your ankle, back leg digging deeply into the earth, the outer edge of your back foot anchored, the heel anchored. You're lifting the heart into that nice crescent shape through your spine. And then we'll move, exhaling, coming forward, hands to the low back. Letting your body come forward. Inhale to lift. Exhale forward. It's not about how far forward you are able to go, but that you keep the integrity of the pose. The tailbone is lifting behind you. The chest and heart staying open. And you can stay for a few breaths if that feels right for you. The alternative would be to support yourself against the leg with your hands if that helps you. Lifting the heart, lifting the elbows a little, keeping the head in line with the spine and growing long here. We'll lift all the way up, pressing into that back heel. Exhale, bring your hands down. You're going to step forward this time, taking the feet side by side, let your head release. And then inhale, take your hands to your shins, find length. And then exhale, release and fold forward. You can bend your knees and let your body hang out here for a few breaths. Alternately, you can place your elbows or hands on your thighs. When you're ready, we'll come all the way up, breathing in. And exhaling to release. Coming to mountain posture, you might be a little bit more warmed up now after a little bit of movement. Feeling your heels pressing down into the earth, supporting the weight of your hips, supporting the weight of your shoulders and your head, all of that driving right down into the earth. At the same time, a feeling of lifting, of lengthening and growing up through the crown of your head. And then let's take our hands again to the heart, and we'll do a little movement that symbolizes the phases of the moon. So we did this one earlier, we'll do again. So the full moon, lifting up with a breath in, and then creating that sense of silvery aura around you. Moon's energy, that silver light, clarity. The moon is said to nourish the mind, in Sanskrit, manas, the everyday mind, so the rational, everyday mind becomes more clear when we focus on that silvery light of the moon's phases. One more time here. Okay, and then we'll bring the hands back together and we'll move into the half moon position with the body. So you can either keep the hands at the heart if that's better for your shoulders, or lift the arms overhead, either keeping the hands close to the head with the elbows bent, or reaching right up if you want that really full stretch experience. So big breath in. As you exhale, go to one side, making a half moon with your body. Inhale, come to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, center. As you go to one side, make sure you're not pushing your hips out to the other side. Great. Come back to the center, and we'll come into the new moon, the dark moon, coming down, bending the knees, sliding into a forward bend. You can either stop with your elbows on your thighs or reach down toward the ground. In this inward position, coming into your breath again, the introspective new moon phase. And then we rise again, breathing in, gathering light, gathering that silver, beautiful light, bringing it back to the heart. And breathing here. So if you have blocks or a chair, that might be handy for the next one. I've got both, so I'm going to use blocks. And what you're going to do is, if you're on a yoga mat, it's a good kind of measure, is if you step towards the back of your mat and take your feet wide, and then bring your blocks, or it could be a chair, towards the front side of your mat, and place your hands on the blocks. So your hands are more or less under your shoulders, and your feet are wider than your hips. Great. So bend the knees, inhale, and look up. And then exhale, straighten the legs, move the head down towards the ground. So inhale, you're bending, looking up, exhale, rounding, or not so much rounding, but letting the body come forward. And then from here, we're going to walk or step or hop the feet in so that your feet are underneath your hips, hands under your shoulders. And we're going to raise one leg to the side. As you raise the leg, there's a tendency to let it drift back. So see if you can keep it inside your mat, lifting the leg to the side, bringing it back down. Lifting to the side, and back. The fire is really hot on my butt. One more to that side, and if you like, you can stay for a couple of breaths. And then bring it down, and then you'll do the other side. Move forward a little bit. So feet under the hips, hands under the shoulders. Can keep soft a little bit in the knees, and then out to the side. So lifting and coming back down. Lifting and back down. You can do that one or two more times, and then maybe stay for a couple of breaths with your leg out to the side. Great, and then when you're ready, you're going to bend the knees, inhale, lift all the way up, and exhale to release. The real estate on my mat is in high demand today. So let's bring the hands to the hips now. Take the feet a little bit wider and do some circles. Keep your knees soft. And a few circles one way, and then you'll shift directions to go the other way a few times. Great, and then come back to the center. And bring the feet in and just give everything a little shake. Just let all that go. Let's come into a sun salutation. And so you want to come near the front of your mat. Come on, up you get. Up you get. Up, up, up. Come on. Up, up, up. Let's go. Over you go, on your own bed. There we go. So you want to come towards the front of your mat. Press down into the heels, lift through the heart. Take a breath in, reach up as if you're taking that clear light of the moon, bringing it down through your heart, bending your knees as you come forward, bowing to the clarity and wisdom of the moon. Pause here for a breath. And then inhale, hands to shins, lengthening. Exhale, fold forward. Stepping back with your right foot coming into lunge. And as you come into lunge, think about squaring your hips. If you like, you can add high lunge to lift up, either hands to knee or overhead. And then with your exhale, bringing the hands down. Let's get back to downward dog. Taking a few breaths here. And then coming down onto all fours. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, rounding into child's pose. Inhale, coming back up to all fours. Exhaling, moving into downward dog. Take another breath here, and at the end of your next exhale, stepping forward with your right foot. Again, squaring the hips. That means you're drawing the front hip back a little, back hip forward a little, feeling engaged through the pelvis and hips, and then maybe adding that lift. Fully optional. Exhaling, coming down and step forward. Head release for a breath or two. And then we'll inhale, hands to shins, lengthen. Exhale, release. And inhale, come all the way up. Breathing in. Exhale to release. Let's do one more sun salutation. So again, start with that feeling of really digging down into your heels. As you drop into your heels, and if you're looking at the screen, you might even notice this subtle shift. So if I put my weight into the balls of my feet, I tend to collapse my lower back, stick the belly up. As I go back to the heels, my belly comes back, my hips line up over my heels, shoulders over hips, and then ears over shoulders, which is ideal. So rather than collapsing forward, shift your weight back. Feel long through the body. And then inhale, lifting the arms. Bringing the hands together and bringing them through the heart as you bow forward, releasing the head. And then inhale, hands to shins, lengthening. And exhale to release forward. Let's step back with the left foot this time. Again, option to inhale and lift or to stay, hands on the ground. Exhale, we're going to come into plank pose this time. So find your way there. If it's too much on your wrists, lower your knees. And then let's take the knees to the ground, and we're going to roll down from thighs first to forehead last. So bend your elbows, your thighs, your belly, your chest, and your forehead come down. Feel like you can stretch the feet back. Big breath in, exhale, press into the hips, into the thighs, squeeze the legs. Inhale, lift the chest and head in cobra and pause here. Take a couple of breaths. Squeeze your elbows in, go back with the hands to lift the heart. So you're pulling back towards your hips. And then from here, either first to all fours, or you can lift straight up to downward dog. From your downward dog, on an exhale, left foot steps forward. Options, inhale and lift. And then exhale to release. Stepping forward, head down. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, arms down. Sink back into your heels, find that lift. And then we'll take a step out to the side. So the feet are wide again. And then take one foot, doesn't really matter which, you're gonna turn it all the way towards the, if you're on a mat, towards the end of your mat, and bend your knee. Now, as you bend your knee, look down to make sure your knee and ankle are stacked. So your knee is not forward or back of your ankle, and it's not inside or outside. So it's straight on top. The back foot generally turns in slightly, but whatever angle works for you. Now your hips might be on a bit of an angle here towards the front leg, that's fine. But see if you can, without moving this knee, let your shoulders come back around so that they're in plane with your legs. So the hips will be off a little, let the torso come back to center. Take the arms to the sides. This is warrior two. Reach out with your arms. And then come down into side angle pose. The hand or the forearm rests on the thigh. The other arm reaches up as if you're reaching for something just out of your grasp. Or you can take the palm, turn it towards the face, and take the arm overhead. So when the arm comes overhead, your palm would be facing the ground. Use your the arm on your leg, kind of create some leverage to lift that upper shoulder back a little. Press into the back foot, reach up through the fingertips. One more breath here. And then let's come up. Back to warrior two. Releasing the arms. Feet parallel. Take a breath in, reach up. Exhale, sweep forward. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, arms down. We'll go the other way, so turning the foot to the side. Really press into the foot. Bend the knee and check that it's on all planes, side to side, front and back, over the ankle. If it's uncomfortable, if you're really reaching to bend that knee, take your stance a little bit narrower. So the wider your legs are apart, the more you're bending down to get that knee in place over the ankle, and the more challenging the pose can be. The arms to the sides in warrior two. Feel your upper body tall, legs anchored, and then exhale into that side angle pose. And start by reaching up with that top arm. Another option here, if your shoulder is uncomfortable up there, you can bring the arm behind your back. Or if you want more stretch, taking the arm overhead, your palm would then face the floor and you're using leverage with your bottom arm against the leg. Think about that top shoulder moving back so it stacks over the bottom shoulder. And breathe. All right, lifting back up to warrior two. And then lowering the arms, straighten the front leg, feet turn parallel, reaching up with the breath in. Bend your knees, soften as you sweep forward. And let's repeat that a few times. You'll come up with the breath in, and you'll come forward with an exhale. Okay, last time. And this time as you come upright, we're going to stay up, releasing the arms down. Let's take the feet together. And again, just shake it all up. So let it go. We're going to move into half moon pose now. And I'm going to recommend that you have either a block or a chair. So I'm going to demonstrate, I've got both here actually. So I'll demonstrate using the chair. It would be similar, just lower down using a block. So what you'll do is you'll, if you've got a chair, you can place it beside the foot that you're going to move towards. So we'll be turning the foot in that direction again. If you're using a block, take it to the baby toe side of your foot and then move it forward about a foot. So you don't need both. I'm just showing you both ways, but one or the other is fine. You're going to bend that knee. You actually want to be a little bit away from your chair, arms to the sides. So we'll take a breath in here. And if you're still getting set up, that's okay. Take your time. We'll spend a bit of time here. We're going to reach for the chair and then release the back foot and lift the leg up. And you want to keep the hips stacked and the shoulders stacked. Arm reaches up, leg reaches up behind, coming into what's called half moon pose. It's also possible to maybe do this with your hand on the floor, but that's a pretty advanced move. When you come out, you can step back and lift up to warrior two and release. So again, if you're still getting set up and moving into the pose, take your time. You can spend a couple of breaths there. And when you're ready to move to the other side, I'll demonstrate on the other side with a block. So here, feet wide again. You're going to turn the foot out. Other foot turns in slightly. Take your block to the baby toe side of your foot and then slide it forward about a foot. So you want it to the outside of your foot. If it's straight in front of your foot or to the inside, it's a lot more difficult to balance. So from here, coming into warrior two, I'm going to reach down and take my block and then lift the back leg, lift the upper arm, and I'm looking for that straight sideways position, hip over hip, shoulder over shoulder. And breathing, crown of the head reaching away from the tail. Coming out, you can lower the leg first, release, and come up to warrior two, and release. Bring the feet together, give it a little shake. So I'm going to encourage you to try that pose again. I'll do it with you. Now that you kind of have an idea of where we're going and what props might be useful, maybe you've been running around your house finding the right props, so when you've got everything together. And you know, if you've got a countertop or a table, you can definitely do it to that height as well. So you'd be here, you know, lifting from here. So whatever works for you. So shifting your block or your chair to the first side again. Again, turning the foot. Placing the block about 6, 8, 12 inches away, whatever feels appropriate. You can always move your block when you get there. On the outside of your foot, the baby toe side, coming into warrior two. So other option to get into the pose, you could place the hand first as we did last time, or for more challenge, you could shift your weight first, lift that back leg, and then reach for your block or your chair. And find your balance coming into the pose again. When you come out, again, you can either place the foot down first, it's going to be a little easier, or lift the hand first to challenge your balance a little bit. And one more time, the final side. So your chair or your block can move to the other side. You're going to shift your feet. Place your prop and come into warrior two. From there, either placing the hand first or lifting the back leg first And then finding that half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. Ardha is half, Chandra is moon, Asana is pose, half moon pose. When you're ready to come out, again, either lift first or lower the foot first. Feet parallel, and bring the feet together. Shake it out. We'll do a few forward bends. Breathing in, reaching up. Exhale, bend your knees, sweep forward. Let your head release. Inhale, lift. Do this a few times, going at your own pace. If you like, you can stay in that forward bend for a few breaths. And then from your forward bend, walk the hands forward, walk the feet back, come into downward dog. Spend a moment here, walking on the spot. Let your head release. You can move your head side to side, forward and back, whatever feels good. Then eventually, find your way to all fours. You can either keep the knees together or move the knees apart, coming into child's pose. The head can rest on the ground or on your hands. And let's take several breaths here, letting the body settle, letting the weight drop down, belly soften, lower back receptive. So as you breathe in, you're breathing into the space in the back of the body, the lower back. Even you may feel some movement in the back of the pelvis, or maybe just the back of the rib cage. So notice as you go inward into this new moon phase, this dark phase of going inwards, contemplative. A few more breaths. And then from your child's pose, you lift up. And we're going to come onto our backs. So you swing the legs around and come to lie down. When you get to the ground, you can bring your knees in toward your body and little rocking motion side to side, or maybe circling the knees around. And then hugging the knees in for a few breaths. It's a little bit like child's pose upside down, but now we've got the breath is compromised by the knees to the chest. It's compromised by, or limited, we'll say, by the back against the ground. So see if you can feel the breath moving into the side ribs now. Okay, and then release one foot to the floor. You can release the arms and lift one leg. If you want a little bit more here, stretch the leg on the ground straight out and keep that heel pressing down, toes pointing up. And we'll circle the ankle of the leg in the air. If it's easier to have the other leg bent, that's fine. You're circling one way and then the other. And then press your heel up toward the ceiling. Okay, and then we'll bend that knee and bring the opposite hand to the knee. Squeeze in. And then reach out, opposite hand, opposite leg, reaching away from each other. Go along through that diagonal line of your body. Take a couple of breaths here. And then you'll lower the arm. You can bend the knee, bring the other leg in, stretch it up. Again, option to straighten the leg on the ground, circle the ankle around. You're circling one way and then the other. Press your heel up toward the ceiling. And then relax and bend the knee, bringing your opposite hand to your knee, give a little squeeze in. And then reach that leg out as you stretch out through the heel, reach up through the arm, prolong through that diagonal line of your body again. And then releasing the arm down. And let's bend both knees. Arms can be out to the sides, resting on the ground or on your body if you prefer. We'll move into a twist. So exhaling, knees to one side. You can turn your head the opposite way if you like. And then back to center as you inhale. And then going the other way. You're inhaling as you come to the center. Exhaling as you go to either side. And taking your time. Twist is good for the spine and the organs. But you also might imagine that action of twisting side to side is kind of like wringing tension out of the body. You can go side to side a couple more times as feels right for you. If you're inclined to stay for a few breaths, you can certainly stay and enjoy the feeling of stretch there, or keep moving if that's better for you. Either way, whenever you feel complete with the twist, you'll come back to the center and bring your knees again into your chest, drawing the knees towards you as you exhale, moving the knees away from you as you inhale. Again, you can stay with this particular movement or choose something else that feels better to you. Maybe stretching the legs toward the ceiling, arms overhead or to the sides, and then back into the chest. And then a little side to side movement, rocking. And then we'll move into our Shavasana. So you can release the feet and either keep the knees bent or straighten the legs. If you prefer to sit for this last part of the class, you're welcome to do that. The main thing is that you're comfortable, so find a position that works for you. And take your time to make sure you've got everything you need. So cover up if it's cool in the room. Support your head with a pillow or blanket if you need it. Maybe cover your eyes if it's bright. And we'll come back to the breath. So once you get settled, coming back to your breath and that idea of the breath of mirroring the phases of the moon. So the inhale is the waxing moon growing into its fullness. The exhale is the waning moon moving into stillness, into darkness. You can imagine that as you breathe, that imagery works for you. Otherwise, just simply breathing and letting your attention rest on your breath. Let your shoulders and arms drop. Let go of any effort now. Hands and fingers relax. So let the weight of your head sink down. The muscles of your jaw and neck release. Exhale, feel your rib cage soften. The breath move with ease. Let the breath be subtle, soft. Breathing normally without any effort. Soften around your waist and abdomen, your lower back. Relax all around the pelvis. We worked quite a bit with the hips and glutes today. So see if you can soften and relax the muscles of your buttocks, the lower belly, and dropping down into your thighs. So a softness around your thighs and down into your knees. Relaxing the calves, the ankles, the feet, even your toes. Exhale and let go. Coming into the darkness, the richness of the new moon. And then into the fullness, brightness of the full moon. The moon reminds us that we go through phases in life, and sometimes we feel whole, we feel complete, we feel our shining, beautiful, amazing selves that we are. And other times we feel broken or invisible or like a sliver or shadow of ourselves. The moon reminds us that no matter how we feel, we are always whole. We just can't always see or feel that. The moon reminds us to love ourselves in all of our phases. To not push one away in favor of another, but to know that all are vital, important, part of our growth and who we are. Exhale, sink down even more. And I'll share with you the chant that reminds us of this wholeness, this completeness. We are like the moon. Even when we come into these different phases, we're always complete, we're always full, we're always full. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you'd like to stay a little bit longer in Shavasana, feel free. And if you're ready to move on and start to deepen your breath into that fullness, breathing in the luminous, silvery light of the moon, feeling its energy in your body, exhaling completely. And take a few slightly deeper breaths. You're not straining or forcing the breath, just finding that fullness. And then exhaling back into the newness or emptiness. Gradually feel inspired to add some movement as you're ready. And if you are lying down and you're ready to come to sit, you might roll first onto one side and pause there, making that adjustment slowly. And then eventually finding your way back upright. And as you do, bringing the hands to the heart center, and we'll 3 times make that symbol of the moon around us by lifting the hands, breathing in, and then sending those silvery moon rays all around us to protect and hold us. Inhale again, lifting. Exhale, circling, and one more time. And then bringing your hands back to the heart and carrying with you this reminder that no matter what phase we're in, if we feel dark and invisible, or if we feel full of light and cheerful, that all of those are part of who we are, and denying one of them means that we're denying our nature, we're denying ourselves. So to be whole, to be human, is to go through all of our phases from dark to light, and to embrace them as part of the natural way of the world, not as something to be fixed or eradicated. Namaste.